Call this meeting in order. All stand, face the flag for pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Britton Luther.
Present.
R.J. Donovan.
Here.
Tim Yoakum, I'm here. Approval of the minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approval of claims.
Make the motion that we approve claims.
Second the motion to approve claims.
All in favor? Discussion, excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approval of payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
I second the motion to approve payroll.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Treasurer's report. Linda Pruitt.
This is you have the treasurer's report, the long one. This is the interest report. The total interest for the month was $4,366.13.
Does that went up any of the rates went up this year?
Trust, of course, our main checking account and the ARP money is in there. No, that won't change. That's 0.15. When I did this report first of the month, Trust Indiana was up to 0.0098, so it's inching back up slowly.
In the past, didn't we have a lot higher than that? Was it up to, how high did it get in Trust Indiana one time?
I don't remember.
It did, it got high.
Yeah.
We actually
Yeah.
made money off of that at
Yeah.
one time.
And it'll be back. It's just if how we want to invest in the future.
And there's no way we can move money in different areas to get the higher interest?
Not without a CD, and I haven't checked those rates lately, but the only CD we have is 0.15, so.
Right. Wow.
Just glad to get anything these days.
Okay. You guys any questions for Linda? Okay.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Public comment? We got a public comment today. We'll move on to open issues. Vermillion Rise. Rob Gruey.
Good morning, everyone. Bob Gruey, Vermillion Rise Mega Park. I do want to take an opportunity to maybe add some clarification. Last night and this morning, there were fire departments dispatched to Vermillion Rise to the Preferred Tire Recycling, and we just want to be clear that it wasn't a fire. It was a hot piece of equipment that removes metal from tires and a smoldering bag of product. So, been in contact with Rodney Rogers, and just want to be clear that it wasn't a fire. It was that sort of event. So, just want to share that at the public microphone. We meet Thursday, 6 o'clock. We've got, per RJ, mushroom idea on the agenda. We're also going to sign a license agreement with Vermillion Trails Alliance for the running events that they have planned. We've already sort of approved that. We just need to ink this document, this paperwork. It spells out everything. We are looking at leasing some additional buildings. We have some inquiries. We don't know if we'll be at a point where we can act on those at our Thursday evening meeting. So those are some of the eventful things on the horizon.
How you doing with the solar as far as the different ground? They still want to put on different ground. Is that an issue right now, or what?
Well, we've got a number of parcels, and and it's been deliberation about, you know, future economic development and what sort of land is best suited for that versus what should we possibly place into the solar project. So that's been the challenge. It's hard to see the future. You kind of want to keep all your options open, have your cake and eat it too, whatever you say, but it'll come a point where we'll have to determine what's in and what's out.
How big was that? How many megawatt and how many acres?
It's a 185 megawatt project, and you know, one time we had almost over 900 acres optioned into it.
900 for 185, what you're saying?
Are you just doing an economic analysis of that, like present costs or future costs, whichever?
Well, I mean, it's the unknown is, you know, what's the absorption rate for industrial land. I mean, right now we haven't taken down a lot of land. Garmont's taken down 32 acres. Preferred Tire Recycling's taken down 4 acres. Got a lot of land.
I understand, but you make assumptions and
Yeah.
go with that. Best guesses for
Mhm.
the day. But have you done that yet?
Well, we haven't really looked at it. I think Kelly has done some analysis about net present value and particularly understanding farm revenues versus solar lease revenues,
Right.
hunting revenues, and just all the trade-offs that are to be considered.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vermillion Trails Alliance.
Good morning, Tom Milligan here, Vermillion Trails Alliance. So there's lots of neat stuff going on with trails right now, and so we are getting ready for our Victory half marathon, Victory races, our 5K, half marathon, and marathon right there. So if you want to sign up for this, an easy way to do it is just VermillionTrailsAlliance.org and our website, or else there's one that's a Victory half, it's yourrace.com, and you can sign up there. I looked this morning, there are 70 people signed up for this at this point, and we're expecting more to come. If we still are accepting sponsorships right there, if somebody wants to be a sponsor, why, basically it's getting a hold of Lynn Brewer up at the Economic Development Office, and she has the information that can make that happen. So there's still potential for being a sponsor in that also. So there's one. You want me to stop there at questions about the race? RJ, are you on that list yet? Or?
Not yet. See, here's the deal. I tried to get on there to save money and do the $25
Yeah.
one, and then I went and signed up the next day. I was like, I'll just do it next week. And last time I waited till like 2 weeks prior, and I just made whoever that extra money. So I'm gonna try to get that signed up, before it takes another price increase. So.
Just take your time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. I tried to do the $25 one, but now I think it's $35. So it is what it is. I just need to do it when it first comes out instead of
Thank you.
procrastinating. But
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for your contribution, and you've been instrumental in doing sponsorships and stuff, so we appreciate all the support we're getting for that project. And we're meeting this afternoon with our promoter and getting all our volunteers in line to make all this happen. It's going to take more volunteers for a marathon than a half marathon, because you got to have 2 shifts of volunteers for some stations. So if anybody wants to volunteer, if there's somebody out there in the TV land right there that wants to volunteer, again, we will have opportunities for that. And Lynn Brewer, again, is the one that's coordinating some of the volunteer, taking that list. And we'll be talking about that this afternoon, how all that's going to happen also.
What's the dates of that?
It is the 26th of March, the 26th of March. It's Saturday, the 26th of March.
Tom, I think some elected office holders have volunteered some of their staffs to help with the race, haven't they?
Yes, and we're appreciative of all any help we can get. And I know Mark has, I think you're gonna man the gate out there as he always has, and you'll bring your ranger out there. He'll have a trail rescue type vehicle. So there, so all those things are in motion. This is the time when we'll be pushing that very hard to get all those slots filled. But I have a high degree of confidence that we will have the people out there to make this an effective project.
Are you participating this year, Tom?
I am out there with my ranger right there, riding the course to check on you and all those other people that might need assistance or whatever. So yeah, so I'll
You'll be
be
our
out there.
ranger? All right.
I'll be riding the course and checking on people and making sure everybody is satisfied and all the stations are stocked and all that. So I will absolutely be out there.
Good.
When do we need to have the signs posted?
For which?
Highway signs, electronic signs?
We will let you know when that that we'll determine that today, you know, exactly the time frame for all those different things to happen.
And then when we have dead time, if you'll give us some type of text, if you will, that we can put on the signs that we can set out in front of the garages at this point.
Yeah, we can do that.
Appreciate it.
What else do you need?
More participation.
More participation.
We have met with the state on the Cayuga project, and it's ongoing, getting more information on the access underneath of the 63 dual lane. It's a huge project and a lot of money involved, so we'll keep you updated as that goes on.
Has
And-
VTA endorsed that yet?
Oh, absolutely. It's part of our longer term plan, and we're working, at this point, we need like a group of Cayuga people that want to push this project and get more people involved, people that are more local, know the project, and to get involved and sort of be a committee that would help make this project happen. So we're that process is ongoing, and we're looking for alternatives to make this happen. So I think it is something that I think it's a great opportunity we don't want to let slip by.
We're going to make a commitment for the finances here shortly, and it's not too far in the future here, another month or so. Has VTA considered how that funding might come about, or where those funds might come from? Any suggestions? Or
We have not figured that out yet. That it takes some time in order to do that, and we've not got an answer for that.
okay, we'll have to make a commitment here, probably in a month, I think, a month and
I
a
don't
half.
see how we can.
Huh?
I don't see how we can make a commitment like that soon.
Yeah, and
I don't see how we can make any commitment like that soon.
And I don't know what the
It's
answer
too-
is at this point.
Wow.
I would just say
They-
we need to keep.
There's
our-
so much has to be done, especially from their standpoint, and I think, I mean, I agree to do it as soon as possible. I just don't know. We
I
need to
think
get
the
their
state highway-
deadlines.
The state highway is gonna ask us for our commitment. It's not whether we wanna make a commitment, they're gonna ask us, are we up or down, and go, no go. That's the way I understand it. Because they start their
That might be
planning.
harder to do than what we
Well, I
think.
understand. That's why I'm hoping they had the funds already available.
It's not. They don't have it.
We don't have $400,000 in our checking account, sorry. And I think, well,
We'll get creative.
I'll check in next week.
yeah, yes, and it depends on how many runners we get for the race right there. I mean,
I don't think that's gonna make a difference in this funding.
I don't think so. Oh, and anyway, I do think a good project like that, if you have a project lined out that you want to pursue, I think we'll find the money. And will we find that in the next 30 days? I'm not sure, but I think longer term, you know, if we can somehow put a placeholder out there so that we can have the opportunity to do that, I think that, I mean, that's the winner experience is if you've got a good plan, you'll find the funding.
Look, I think the commitment is a go, no go. It's not that we have to have the funds available that day or in a month and a half. I think it's probably 2 to 3 years down the road that we will have to have the funds. And I think we'll have to make the commitment though earlier than, well, in the next month and a half or so.
And I think we have a good plan to go forward. I think we can make that work. I think that's a valuable, and the river is a resource that we have not taken advantage of to the extent that we can. And I think there's an opportunity to have people in Cayuga, that whole area of the county, a trail, a path that will lead to the river. So I think anything we can do to make the river more an attraction to our community would be beneficial, and this is just another small step to make that happen.
The ideal thing with that is when you look at the map, part of that property there on the south side of the bridge is still owned by DNR, which could be used as an access point. I mean, it'd be nice if people could get on a walk or get on their bicycle at the park in Cayuga and ride all the way down to the river, go down the river, visit, have fun, come back. I mean, that's just a tremendous, it's all set to do that as long as property owners participate. And so it's got a lot of, it has more positives than negatives as far as acquiring it, as long as property owners there's no one lives down there, there's no reason for no one to really be down there. So as long as we get some property owners participate, I think it will be a very good project and be easier to do than what we was doing down there.
And I mean, so you ready to go to the next project? And I guess there, I would just start there, our Hillsdale to Montezuma Trail. I mean, it took like 4 years of planning and or more. I forget how. I mean, it took a long time to make that happen and to get all the land acquisition, which John helped with that, the commissioners helped with that. I mean, it's a lot of moving parts. Just the determination of who owns the property, how the property's titled, working with the landowners. It's no short process, and it takes time to make that happen. But the trail over there now, the construction phase of that is pretty much complete, and I would not say that I'm not saying it's open. I'm just saying it's a soft opening. I'm saying people are out there. You can't, they want to be out there, and someday we'll have a celebration of the opening of that trail. And but we have certain things that we've got to get done before that. Signage, we haven't completed all our signage requirements yet. Just certain little amenities that have to be put out there, and we're working also with how do you do emergency response on the trail, and like there again, like Mark's got you've got a Ranger but it's in Clinton, right?
It's in Cayuga, the pole barn with the trailer.
Okay, so it's in Cayuga, so I've talked to Help Fire and Rescue, the people in Montezuma are talking about it, the commissioners in Park County are talking about it. We'll have that figured out here sooner rather than later, how that's going, all those things, how different, things are going to happen over there, but just to get the construction phase of it to the point that we're at is rather miraculous. An effort, 4 years of work to get 3 weeks of construction is rather remarkable. And questions about that?
There's two things. One thing, the two pieces of concrete over there that belong to Park County, we're willing to get the county down to get them out there if we have to, but I think we need to return that to Park County. They asked for that. I think it should have been considered before it was probably thrown over the hill, but that's decided.
Well, and it's still right there on the edge of the trail, and but we'll see how that goes. I don't. Yeah, that.
But they requested. That's the only way someone
right.
ask. And number two is, I think that anything we do there is to talk more relationship. I think with Park County.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that needs to be improved. And I know they're all for it, so I think you guys went to a meeting last Sunday. I couldn't be there. I had to work.
Les did, right?
And hopefully that was constructive.
And that was with the Montezuma Park Board, and I mean, what I understand, I mean, they're still like who owns this and who's responsible for this. I mean, they're having their own questions, which I was not present at that, and I was not present at their commissioner meeting, but I mean, there's a lot of questions going on, lots of opportunities for dialogue, better relationship, and we're looking forward to that day when we'll have Jim Meese, hand the torch to you to open that trail right there. And I mean, you guys want to come up with a welcome to Vermilion County sign right there as you come into Vermilion County.
I think that's one of the first things that people need to see when they cross that bridge is welcome to Vermilion County. And we're working for other things, signage that would be safety and trail etiquette and different things there. So there's a lot of moving parts, give us a little more time, and I think we'll have something. I mean, we've got something we're very proud of at this point, and I think it will. People are stepping up, say, what can we do to do different things? So I think that will be something we'll be very proud of, and also, I mean, our Next Level Trails grant that we have is in, and we'll see about getting across the creek and out to the public crossings. And I went to the regional trails meeting last week, and talking about the regional trails effort and how our projects are part of a regional effort, and which gives our grant opportunities are very much stronger if you're part of a regional system. And so Thrive, they are taking that. Our trail now is on the Crossroads Trail app. If you want to see how the trail is on a map, why Crossroads Trails, and it's an app on iOS or the whatever it is for Android. So that is on that app now. They have listed that as a trail that is active. So people have a map now of what that looks like, and that's maps of the whole 6-county area. Through Thrive West Central.
Mark, we're here. Are you having issues with opening this up and what's going on right now, or do you think we need to have anything else in place?
Shouldn't be a problem. Tom's talking about the gators. Ileana EMS also has a gator that's kept at the Clinton Fire Department, so that's on the south end of the county, and the other one's, like I said, kept up at the highway garage in the response pole barn.
Okay.
And ready to go. They both have medical beds on them.
Good.
Once in a while, they've been used together for different things that happen. So.
And if something happened to somebody over there at this point, why you would put them in a Stokes basket, and the people would carry them across there. I mean, there's access to make this happen. It would not be simple, but if there was a rescue needed, we have volunteers that would do that in a heartbeat. So I don't think people are unsafe. I think we'll improve that plan as we go forward. But at this point, if somebody needed rescued over there, I'm sure that there'll be people there that would make that happen. We've got volunteer firemen that would do what it takes to make it to be safe over there. So
we have an opportunity, though they hedged on it a little bit, to get the bridge beams off of the 63 when they close when they make that take away the overpass anyway. Have you looked at those? Les was going to look at them. Is that something that we want for VTA, or is that not really needed?
Might be. I mean, we've got our other trail project that goes to OPD. I mean, there's a couple trestles there that need replaced. So I would say opportunities that we might have for looking at structures. We need to keep our eyes open, I guess.
So it's a favorable if we can get a hold of them then?
I don't know exactly how they'll be utilized, but I would think that might be an opportunity.
You couldn't lose on it.
We'll have to transport. It'll probably be our cost to transport them to wherever we're wanting to store them or place them, whatever the case may be. But okay.
We could always store them
Sure.
for future use some other place else even.
Other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Come to the race. Thank you.
Next item, the jail. Got an update, Brett, on that?
We do that the first meeting of the month. We've already done that for this month.
New issues. I got an update from the health department. Thanks for Wendy sending it to me. Appreciate that. COVID-19 update, Vermilion County Health Department. Vermilion County COVID-19 numbers are just starting to trend down. I think that's good news. We all know it's good news. Total positive cases from the 1st of February to the 14th of February, a total of 103. The past week, we are starting to see weekly cases drop. Total vaccinated are 51.7% in the county, and booster vaccines are at 19.3. Total deaths are at 70. Testing and vaccine continue to be available at the health department. We do have all vaccines available. Times are Tuesday and Thursdays from 12 to 6. And Saturday hours change from 11 to 2 for both sites. Indiana Department of Health, in partnership with the Indiana National Guard, held 2 strike team clinics in Vermilion County, one on February 2nd and one on February 5th at the Clinton Community Center. The weather did affect the clinic on a few days, and in Cayuga, at the Cayuga Community Center on February 9th through February 12th. So that's the update from the Health Department. Penny, you have some issue with the zoning today. You want to come up and address that? We will want it to be read, but it's not something we'll pass today. Is that standard? Let it be read, but it gives people a right to comment.
Sure, and we did hold our public hearing on February 10th at our area plan meeting. We had probably 16 to 20 people present during the public hearing. But on February 1st, I did email about getting on the agenda, and I was working from home at that time, and somehow it didn't get on the agenda, but it was advertised in the Clintonian about the public hearing and about coming before the commissioners. What we did on the amendment to the commercial solar, we increased the setback from parcels that have a house sitting on them, so to 300 feet from the property line. So
you increased.
It was 200 before, we increased it 100, and with approved vegetation buffer, so they're going to put a buffer of pine trees around between the house and the actual solar commercial projects. We also
So this is depend on the participating residents. The setback is actually with participation. Varies. Okay.
and then we had a special exception fee of 500, but we did not actually on the ordinance have a permit fee for this commercial solar, and it was approved for $50,000.
This is $50,000.
And we don't have that divided out exactly where it's going to go, but we know we're going to have an engineer, drainage reviews done, because it's a pretty big deal with the solar going in. So, and that was approved with a 5-2 vote. The setback change was passed unanimously. And I do apologize, I did not get it on the agenda. So it's what if you want to review it, do it at your next meeting, which would that be March the 1st? Is that what we're looking at?
This fee for $50,000, you want to elaborate on that a little bit? So the fee shall be $50,000 to cover drawing reviews, site reviews, and other items.
Right. If we have to hire an engineer to review the plans, we have to hire like someone like HWC to go out and look at the drainage issues. We'll have to cover those costs.
Questions? Concerns?
I don't have any questions. I would like to review it and then put it on the agenda for the next meeting, if that's all right with you guys.
Definitely. Basically like a first reading
Yeah.
at this point for us, anyway.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for the 300 feet setback? What's the reasoning for 300 feet?
Barbara, you want to help me out on this?
I think it was sort of a compromise.
Come on up, Kenny, identify
This
yourself.
is Barbara Phillips. She's one of my members of the APC. They're not mine, but a member of the APC.
Yeah. Others. Barbara Phillips, Vermilion County, ABC. We kind of reached a compromise on that. We started out with 500 feet, but there were a lot of representatives from Apex present, and they said that the farther you make that away, the more it impacts their ability to have a profitable project, because there's nothing that can be done with that buffer space in between. So we talked at length, and we ended up coming up with a compromise, kind of meet in the middle, on 300 feet instead of 500 feet, with the vegetative barrier being an absolute requirement. And it's 300 feet from the residence, 100 feet from the property line. We felt like, well, 500, we're giving away 200, you might say, of what we were asking for, but still 300 with some trees in between we felt would be a reasonable compromise.
And Apex was pleased with that.
Yeah.
Was, in the vegetative cover, that's very, very broad. I mean, is there anything here which says the height of the vegetation, or?
They did state that when they plant the pine trees, they're 4 to 5 feet tall, and they would do we could request 2 rows, so they're alternate, so it'd also be like a wind block as well, but it would block the view of the solar farm from a non-participating.
And they're supposed to include that in their plan when they come forward for their permit or special.
Right,
exception.
and it says with the approval that we have to approve what they're wanting to do. They can't say they're gonna,
And then it's up to them to maintain those too, so if a storm comes through and tears up some of those trees, they have to replant and maintain that section.
I'm just saying, as you say, vegetative cover buffer, it could be, I mean, that's a very broad term.
But it's with approved
Right.
vegetative buffer. So I mean, if they come in and say we want to plant.
So if they want to come in and say, I want to plant white pines, and someone else comes in and goes, no, I want to do red, or, we're not doing, what did we say? Blue spruce. Somebody goes, blue spruce. I'm like, oh, no. Those grow like an inch a year or something. I don't know. But
So your basis of vegetative cover is to provide a block.
A buffer. Yeah.
Does it get as definitive as, is the perimeter fence to go on the property line, or is it to be set back from the property line?
All these setbacks are from that person's property line to their fence. And then how far they put the panels inside the fence was not our issue. But their fence around their panels is what we're taking as our measurements from, to the person's property line or to their residence.
So if they're up against a residence, it could go across and have to go out 300, come across, come back to
Yeah.
100?
And they were okay with that, because if it's only the residents and they're 300 feet away and then they can come back in farther, they liked that because that gave them more space again. And then it's up to whoever owns the land that is being leased to them is responsible for the upkeep of that strip too, of mowing or controlling the weeds, or, we had some discussion about whether they could plant there, and they said that would probably be too narrow to be able to plant crops along the side there. But
Is the vegetative buffer supposed to be on the outside of the fence or on the inside of the fence?
outside of the fence. So you would measure, if this were the corner of the residence, 300 feet, and the trees would be within that 300 feet distance.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for?
I've not read it, but I just
Okay.
saw those things.
Well, thank you for, because I also want to go, if I can change subjects for just a moment, the comprehensive plan, we've been working on that. We've held, Area Plan held 2 workshops at the end of January. We're still not 100% with this comprehensive plan, but we're all working, trying to get everything done, which we are. But there will be 2 town hall meetings held. One is on Monday, February 21st at the Cayuga Community Center at 6 o'clock. And the second one's at the Clinton Community Center on Wednesday the 23rd, beginning at 6. There's going to be an article in the paper that's got this little code on it. You take a picture of that and the comprehensive plan will pop up on your phone and you can review it. There's also a link there. We also, it's also on the website where the workshops or the town halls are advertised. With the link, you can click on it and see the comprehensive plan, and there'll be a hard copy. Brenda's office, my office, Clinton Library, and Newport Library. So if someone would like to come and review that. So, and I have shared it with a lot. I know Doug and Tom and Les and Bob and Mark O'Hare. I've got a whole list of people I've shared it with, so we can get some input back from them possibly before we get that final stamp. But we're all moving in the right direction.
We're doing okay on deadline.
Yes, we are. We're having the town halls the 21st and the 23rd. They're going to do a hearing, I think, with you guys on the 1st. Then by our meeting in March, which is March the 10th, we should have everyone's comments, things from the town hall, everything put together. We'll give it our blessing, then it comes to you guys, and then it gets some time to get it in before April 1. So we're working on it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Brett, you have some things you want to go over?
Yeah, we need to name somebody, if we're going to remain interested in the First Financial property over here, name one of the three commissioners to enter into that negotiation, not to finalize anything, but to enter into that negotiation with the principal purpose of
I would
acquiring the
suggest that
property.
you do that. I mean, you've been very involved in it and appreciate what you've done. I don't think it'd be right to change. You've already made that
I'd second
communication.
Tim's nomination.
Well, I mean, it's true. Britton works very hard for the county, very hard. She might want to explain what's going on.
First Financial has placed the property across on the south side here up for sale. The asking price is $110,000 currently. We have approached them. We have passed a resolution that we are interested in that in previous meetings. They did get back with us. Still waiting on layout of the property or layout of the building itself, floor plan. And anyway, the CEO of First Financial called last week and is interested in working with us on it. We'll have to see what the negotiation might come of it. So that's where we're at this point. We're looking at it as part of an annex to the courthouse, I believe, at this point in time. We believe it's space that can be well utilized for the county, especially for the price of the building and property. And we'll see how that works out. So if we're by agreement, I will continue to try to procure that property. Second thing is we have a Toshiba copier. Toshiba has gained the state contract for copiers and for printers for that matter. We're looking at having Toshiba go to each of the departments or wherever county has basically copiers or printers and be asking for the information that you have. We have various vendors that are providing services to the county, and it's to basically determine what those contracts are and compare prices as to what the state contract is compared to what we're paying now from the different vendors or different suppliers of these machines. So you'll be in contact by Jim Williams of Toshiba, and they'll be asking for that information. So if different office holders and departments will work with them to help compile that sheet so that we can make a educated determination as to what we should do with the copiers and when they come due and so forth. Do we not have a courthouse closure, or do we already do that?
That's the last thing.
Okay, never mind.
It's still in there.
We also have John Deere lease coming up on highway. We've got the lease agreements here. If you will, I will continue to, if we need authorization to sign these leases if we're going to continue with them. We still need to talk a little bit about how this might work if we go to one county highway or if we don't go to one county highway, and how we want to make that determination. If you want to discuss it now, we can, or we can do it at a later date.
When's the date that needs to be turned in?
Well, the Deere comes up March 10th. Is when the,
I'm not ready to make a decision on that today, but it's just something we need to talk about between
Okay.
here in the next 2 weeks.
well, I think we have one meeting before that.
Okay.
The longer, right now, the tractors, whether we buy 2 or 3, are out till August. We'll have to maintain the ones we have up until, or an agreement we reach to keep the tractors we have until the others are received. But right now, August is the earliest date that we'll probably receive those tractors, new ones anyway, for replacement of these.
Okay.
Do we get a Cayuga interlocal agreement on doing that study, or is it just understood?
It's understood, so we were at the,
Can you come on up?
sure. Sorry. Doug Hess, Economic Development, and Britton's question is regarding the study that we did for the town of Cayuga regarding the water. We're looking at possibly working on a housing development there in Cayuga. And so we did go to the town board, talk to them, and they are in favor of us to move forward. So they didn't vote on anything other than a verbal agreement that yes, that they are still interested in us continuing to move forward on that process.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
At some point in time, I don't think we formalized the ARP committee yet. Are we
No,
gonna do
we need
that?
to move on that. That would be a good recommendation, maybe act on within the next 30 days, maybe form that committee official.
Likewise, though I don't know if they're gonna be the same now or different ones, broadband committee, is that gonna get formalized, or we're moving on agreements with them and so forth, but yet we don't have anybody spearheading, or any formal committee anyway.
Could it be the same?
Hmm?
Could it be the same?
It can be. I don't know if it will be because of, I don't know if ARP monies are still gonna go all to broadband, or are we gonna be spending them in other different arenas?
Question for John. How can we form a committee like that legally? Do we just figure out who we want, or do we have to
But what is it specifically that you want the committee to
oversee the ARP funding?
I don't know that there's any statutory guidelines on that. I would think you would simply do it by an ordinance.
So the commissioners would select, it'd be the final approval of the
However you want it
commissioners.
put together, because like I said, I'm not aware of a statute that gives guidance on how to do that. When there's not a statutory process, the Commissioners Board acts through ordinance.
Okay. I just think, if we want to do a 5 or 7 member, I'm just talking, you guys chime in if you want to.
I prefer 3 or 5. 7 gets a little unruly, and to get everybody together at any one time, most people that are gonna be on these committees are not gonna have free time probably, or more time than not.
I think we probably could do 5 with as many people we have. I think it'd be more of a diverse board of, what do you think, RJ?
5 is good with me.
Because we need to go ahead and, a 5-member board, and the commissioners would just appoint those 5, and is that?
Yeah, like I said, there's no statute that says how you have to do it, so in the absence of a statutory process, you would create an ordinance that says this is how we're going to do this.
Okay. So, would you want to continue the process and say by next meeting we'll come up with 5 members for that board, and that'd be established by the next meeting?
Yes, and then we'd
Is
have
it-
an ordinance
okay.
drafted by that time as well.
That's fine.
To
Okay.
form that committee. Is the broadband gonna be the same as the ARP, or is it gonna be a different committee?
I think it all would be in that same committee, because it's taking the funds and what you're doing with those funds, so I think
Okay.
it all still all be in there.
RJ, you wanna weigh in?
That's fine with me. Doing the same. Are we setting a deadline for this committee to have a decision by?
I think we need to have the committee formed by next meeting, then.
Then from that, I mean, like 30 days, 90 days? I think we need to have an idea of how long, because you don't want to create something and then never really, meet or anything.
Well, the auditor is gonna have to sit on that, whether
Yeah.
she's one of the 5 or not, she
Yeah.
needs to be involved in it, or a representative, one of the two. The ARP is gonna be a continuing, I don't know, we can end it or reaffirm it, I guess, every,
Yeah.
I don't know. if we-
I just
what do you
meant
wanna
setting
do?
some like deadlines on us.
Well, I
instead of,
agree.
you know.
That's not, it's a good idea. It's just ARP will have a definitive date that it
Yeah.
has to be, well, who knows, has to be complete, it's supposed to be complete
Yeah,
anyway.
that's what it is.
Make it, well, we can decide
Yeah.
that in ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I
How we
mean
want
by the
that.
time next meeting, yeah.
Sure.
One of the things I'd like to add to that, since we're on that talking about ARP, when the money originally was started, we had our goal to do broadband for the entire county. There was a Ordoff auction that came up at the beginning, and this is when it all started. The Fed was gonna come in and do the biggest part of Vermillion County, pay for it. And then what my goal, and I think majority of the people was gonna take care of the rest of it with this ARP money. Well, that was something we started, it looked good, and all of a sudden in May of last year, I received a phone call that Charter Communications, who had the auction awarded Vermillion County, backed out of their commit. And that just messed everything up. So therefore now we're going a different route. And we are still dealing with, we had a meeting with Senator Braun's office here about 2 weeks ago about the same situation. the feds approved X amount of money for our county to do broadband, and other counties got it because the communication company held their contract, but in our county, they backed out. And I don't think it was fair, and it's definitely not fair when other counties are receiving benefit from this from a federal program, and we're not. So I'm still trying to see what we can do. Every time I talk to them, I say, where's our money? Because it's not fair. And I think Doug was involved in one of those meetings. So we're looking at that, trying to find out something that maybe could be done there. The other thing with ARP money, my second thing I had in mind was how do we make lasting effect of this money? And I think the courthouse is an ideal place to do this, to get a quote for have all touchless, all our plumbing in the courthouse, and that makes sense. You know, touchless fixtures, you just run your hand in front of them, and I think that's everyone agrees that less things you touch, the more safer you are, and I would like to see some type of quote come up from a local plumbing company or someone that has expertise in that would provide that to the courthouse. I think it's an excellent way to spend ARP money, which makes sense from a health issue, you know, to abstain from that communication, touching the fixtures and things like that. What's your all's thought about that?
I don't have a comment right now.
I think there's all kinds of ways you could spend that money. I think that's a good idea. I think we could spend it on culverts, we could spend it on a lot of things, but I think that's what that committee, we can kind of iron out some of those details. Yeah. But I'm with you. I think the courthouse has some definite needs that we could renovate.
This is a thought. Hey, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you have anything else on your list? Okay, go ahead.
We had the asset management plan update on Thursday with Thrive.
They're done with it?
No, it's just an update. They're supposed to be finishing come March 1st, or the first part of March.
I mean, it's getting close.
Is the assessor's vehicle, she's not here, what's the status of her needs for a vehicle and so forth, since the one died?
Mark LaHare, Vermilion County Emergency Management. The grant that I applied for a new vehicle was turned down.
Right.
So it's up to the council whether they want to fund either a new vehicle for emergency management or buy her a new vehicle. She's always been getting the hand-me-down. And, you know, I could drive a truck for a couple more years.
Do we not have a pickup truck that's...
Yeah, that's what I had said that back in an email. The courthouse does have the pickup truck down here at the courthouse that it's four-wheel drive. Well, I believe it's four-wheel drive. I better not say that. It may not be four-wheel drive, but I think it's better than what she's had to use in the past. So I indicated to her if she needed something that she should use that.
Do we have extra vehicle in the highway departments at the garages?
I don't know of any cars. I think
it'd be
that one was an extra vehicle.
Yeah, this gray one here was an extra one from one of the highway garages. I don't know if I've got an extra one or not up there.
I think we might. I need to make a further.
Well, I know this one here doesn't get used a whole lot. I know Terry uses it a little bit. I think the surveyor had asked to use it on occasion. But I think that's a short stopgap fix there, and if the council don't want to buy a new vehicle right now.
How do they check that out then? Or just first come,
well, I think my understanding is Terry kind of like checks it out and Ron, they've got an agreement if whoever's taking it out, they've got like I assume it's a sheet of some kind that they, whenever someone takes it out. So, but I can talk to Paige if she's here today or someone in her office.
The public defender agreement will be coming here soon, and our appointee will bring that forward to us, but that's probably going to happen by the next meeting anyway, so we might be prepared to see that. I'm not sure how much time we'll have after the first. It comes into play April 1st is when we're supposed to have office facilities available to them. We're still looking at that, and she suggested some things in the courthouse, so we'll have to see if that works out for us or not. I also last thing is I'd like to start a task force for, you can call it task force holiday or whatever. For next year, I'd like to see if there's some individuals that would be interested in having the courthouse open up and have it decorated in different ways for the holidays, and possibly even having things in the commons areas, if you will. Even if people want to set up, and I don't know that we can sell things or not, but at least have displays or something to that effect for 4-H and other groups that may want to come in and make a display. You know, those are some ideas. But anyway, set up a task force basically to take care of the holidays, whether it's the 4th of July, Labor Day, Christmas, etc. So anyway, if anybody's interested in that, I'd like to get a committee of 3 to 5 again, or if you want to call it a committee, but see if there's an interest in a task force being able to put that together and coordinate it between the offices, and anyway, decorate the. I wanted to try it this year, but the timing wasn't very good and too short of a time. But if we start now, we should have enough time by the time one of the holidays rolls around anyway. So if you're interested, if you'll get a hold of me, I'd appreciate it, and we'll see how that might pan out. Also, I think Cayuga, I just read something, I think Cayuga has a farmer's market now. Is that true? No? Are they moving toward a farmer's
They're
market?
working on something. I follow something. They're
I
working
thought
on
I saw something.
I'm not
Anyway,
privy.
I thought we also might want to start considering that here. One of the uses of the properties around the courthouse of being able to do that coming up now, maybe a little bit early for spring, but nothing else, maybe later on in the year that we might be able to do something with that. And so if anybody's interested in looking into a farmer's market, I'd like to have a little task force put together for that, how that might come together and make that work. So if there's 3 to 5 individuals that might be interested in something like that, if you can get a hold of them as well, be interested in maybe pursuing something to that effect. And if we acquire other properties, I have bigger ideas for that even. So that's all.
I talked with Doug the other day, and I think that we can do better about marketing Vermilion County. One of the things that we came up with talking is there's people that want to move here, and what we want to do is form a master link or master site or something that has all the properties that are available in the county. There's a lot of developers here that have properties and subdivisions and it's for sale, and they're not effectively trying to market them. And if we could figure out some link to work with developers and different real estate, that would have when you come to our county website, it would have all the links of all the properties available. People are looking for land, and I've seen a lot of places around here. There's a lot of lots available for building new homes, and it's just not being promoted. And I think that if we provide a master link on there, that when people come to welcome to Vermilion County, and they can look up property on our link, and I think is very important. And I think it's something that's not utilized, because I know you're posting some different sites that people have property for sale, but there's a lot of lots that are available right now that are available, and developers are not promoting them, and they are for sale. And I think if we could create that list on our county website, what do you think, Doug? You think that?
Do these not show up on Zillow or those type of sites? I've not been on them for a while.
Well,
Realestate.com, etc.
So I'm saying that we have all this property, and if we can advertise for everybody in the county that participate in this, that we could get all these lots available on a site, and Zillow could pick it up too. I don't care who picks it up, but I'm saying that there's a lot of home sites available in Vermilion County. People don't know they're available, and the developer are not just pushing it. I mean, they're not excited about trying to sell it, but I think it'd be a great link for people who are looking into our county to know that property is available.
And I think Doug, you might be bringing up proposals at next meeting with maybe somebody bring out of house or bring them in house to help with some marketing and some. I think the EDC you got some ideas on that. Correct. So I think Doug's going to send us a proposal here before too long.
Right. But I think we have a lot of property here that people don't even know is available. The developers are not really promoting them, but they are for sale. So I'm thinking if we could help that be promoted and people be educated on that. The other thing I was going to say real quickly, I'm a little late getting this out, but there will be a letter going out, and I've talked to within ourselves about this, that the estate of the county address coming up. And we're looking forward to that. This year, we're late at doing it. It'd probably be a 30-day out once letters go out to all department heads that we want to do a state of the county address. I think it's important that the people in the county know what's going on in county government. And I think that each department will be asked to present a presentation, or they can also send a letter that we can just read. But all departments, we encourage them to be involved in this. We would like for it to eventually spread to where the hospitals are involved, the school corporations, where people could actually come one day a year and we could have a total county, state of the county address. But I think it's a good idea, and so that letter will be going out. You got any comments on that? Okay, we need to move on to the ordinance of 2022-004, closing courthouse.
Maybe just before we get that, is that our last business? I did talk to Costello about the ordinance for the maximum ordinance, or the speed limits for the county highways by default, or the default speed limit. And his recommendation was a 40-mile-per-hour speed limit in the county as opposed to a 45. He also suggested that if we're going to make ordinance or make roads, that we keep on a 10-mile-per-hour basis. In other words, 30-mile-an-hour, 40-mile-an-hour, 50, whatever. The reason being is because of inventory of signs. If you start getting into the 5s and whatever, they found that they weren't useful, and that they were just had to maintain a larger inventory of signs to be able to replace signs or to place signs. So it's something that we may want to consider. We already have an ordinance in front of us that would need, I think it says 45 or something to that effect. But anyway, that was his recommendation, so we may want to take that back up at our next meeting.
County ordinance number 2022-004. I'll read this by title. Closing the courthouse ordinance for Vermillion County, Indiana. An ordinance closing the courthouse February 1st through 2022 through February 4th, 2022. I'd make a motion to approve this ordinance as written.
Second motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Y'all don't have anything else? Open it for public comment.
No, other than I would just like to encourage everyone not to be a litter bug in the community. We will be placing some new signs throughout the county. Hopefully these don't get stolen. If you have trash, take it home. Don't throw it down. So I just wanted to share the new signs we'll be putting up with you guys.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Public comment?
Is there a date? You mentioned the state of the county, and is there a date set, or it's to be determined?
For
that state of the county event?
There'll be letters going out, and we welcome you all to be part of it. I know that didn't Joel do a overall?
Yeah, I just want to be sure we get on calendar.
I think he did a wonderful job on it, didn't he?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to mention is, with the listings, it's interesting. I suspect there is a lot of property, and they're simply not listed with brokers, but yet individuals have property, and that's why oftentimes they don't show up in the conventional real estate listings, perhaps.
Right.
I know we have leased properties that are not showing up in those type things for rent or for lease anyway as well.
Okay.
Good point.
Any other public comment? Motion. Go ahead.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.